Hey there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be a look at some new makeup releases for March. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you're into eyeshadow palettes, S's and Catrice, and getting the use out of your makeup the way that I am, then definitely stay tuned. Today's video is going to be a look at some new in makeup releases that have either intrigued me, that I think I might want to buy, that have sparked my interest, but also some things where I'm like, really? Did we need this? So it's going to be top 5, bottom 5 style. So I'm also going to be telling you what I'm definitely not picking up. And in case you're new here, it may be good to know that I have fair skin with a cool neutral undertone, which greatly skews my makeup preferences. And because I've been buying, trying, and reviewing makeup for more than a decade, I also have some very strong favorites. So if you'd like to stay tuned and you're here for the ride, all you need to do is join the Snow Angel Club by clicking subscribe down below. Kicking things off with the bottom 5 first, there weren't a lot of releases that really stood out to me in the past month, so I'm glad I'm only doing these once a month, because if I need to talk about products just to talk about them, I don't find these videos as enjoyable to do. But yeah, Colourpop has of course another announcement. What else is new? What's a month without a Colourpop release? I don't mention Colourpop a lot here, but the new Snow White collection seems to be getting quite a bit of hype. I mean, the best part for me about this entire collection is the mirror. The rest I really don't need. I did recently try a Colourpop palette that I did really love again, where I was like, at first, not sure I'm gonna like it, but then it ended up working really well. So Colourpop can do some really good, affordable things. But to be quite fair, where I live in Europe, Colourpop can be a little bit expensive to get. And these more like novelty collections, I just feel they need to stop doing that and focus on just making good makeup. Then there are some new contour products that have been announced by Milk Makeup. This is their, what's the name? The Sculpt Cream Contour Stick. Now, I just got a backup of a mini of the baked bronzer stick, because that's one of my favorite things. I don't really contour though. So even though I'm pretty sure this is going to be a lovely product, I don't think I need it personally in my life because I don't really like to contour. Plus a lot of contour shades, like what would be a contour on most people is a bronzer on me. So maybe I could wear these as a bronzer. I'm gonna be traveling to Paris again. I just booked some vacation for the next couple of months. I'm super excited, but I will be traveling to Paris at the start of May. So I'm gonna be able to check this out at Sephora, I'm sure. So hopefully they have the products in by then. We're usually a little bit behind here in Europe. So, yeah, but yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna check it out and see if there's anything I like. And then the other contour product is by Tower 28. They've come out with the Sculptino Soft Matte Cream Contour and Bronzer. So they're saying it's new on Trend Mood, but is this really new? Because I believe that they had a Bronzino anyways. Like, is this just an updated version of that? Or I'm not entirely sure, but Tower 28 is a brand that I am pretty intrigued with. Their whole aesthetic I like, but their products do expire quite quickly. So I had to use up a gloss I had by them in 2022, like really quickly because it was about to turn. And I've had to throw away their cream blush because it had expired on me. So that's why with Tower 28, I'm a little unsure, especially if it's like in a pot like this. Like, will this keep for as long as I'd like it to? That's the question with Tower 28 products. And then I do find them, like, they're not super expensive, but for products that expire this quickly, I do want them to perhaps last a little bit longer. I just have a larger makeup collection, and then some of these clean beauty brands may just not be quite right for me. Then Beauty Bay has a new collection out. This is their Retro Love palette. Now, I've mentioned in the past how I'm not the biggest fan of Beauty Bay quality. They do really pigmented shadow at a low price point, which is what a lot of online creators tend to go for, but I tend to prefer a more buildable shadow that gives me a lot more room to play with it. I need to get ready to get out the door to head out to work. in the morning. That's when I do my makeup. I want things to be quick and easy to blend, and that's just not the case with Beauty Bay stuff. They definitely favor pigment over workability, and it's just not something that really goes with my vibe. They do some really stunning palettes, and if you find one that is really up your street, and if you're someone who's, for instance, you know, expanding their makeup collection, if you want to do very creative things, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on them, then I think it's a good brand to go to. But if you're just looking for really good, like, staple products that will see you through like so many different occasions, then I don't think Beauty Bay is the go-to brand. And while this looks okay, it just looks okay to me. The color story didn't wow me. So that's why it's in the bottom part of the new makeup releases for this month. And then this one I just thought was a bit boring. The new Kiko collection, Basic Essentials. I mean, the name says it all, really. This is supposed to be a very basic collection. There seems to be some bronzers, some highlighters, some eyeshadow palettes in here, some sort of face palette, some lip products. I mean, it all looks really pretty. Not gonna lie, it looks pretty packaging wise, but none of these color stories or like the colors of the products really make me go like, I need that in my life. I have a lot of really good Kiko products. It's a brand I love, but I always feel with Kiko, you're better off buying things from their standard collection, like the ones that come in the silver packaging. I love that line, the Radiant Fusion, like the Fusion line. Like every product has a different name. That one I love. I love the highlighters. I love the I love the bronzers, like the powder, the blush. Like everything from that line that I've tried is really good. They also have some like foundation and other complexion products that I really enjoy. So they do some really good things, but with Kiko, so many of their limited edition stuff is just being recycled every time. So if you've bought a couple of their limited editions, you will have seen it all. So that's why this one just didn't really excite me. I think it has a couple of really good basics in there, but then why make it a limited edition collection? Or is that just me? I don't know. But yeah, for me, this is a no. Then I have 5 maybes. I only have 15 products to talk about in today's video, you guys. I don't have that much to talk about. Haus Labs has come out with blushes. And Haus Labs is a brand I'd love to try. I can't buy them. They are only available through Sephora US, and I can't shop through them. So that's a bit of a bummer, but these blushes look amazing. If I were to like do a trip to the US, which is not in the cards for this year, it would have to be next year, but next year I may want to go to Tokyo, or like at least Japan, not just Tokyo, but like go to Japan for like 3.5 weeks. That's the plan for next year. But yeah, it's just not really gonna be in the cards for me to be trying this brand anytime soon, unless they announce they're going to be available at European Sephora. But I don't think they are, because very often we only get the Sephora brands that are from like the Kendo incubator, things like Rare Beauty, Fenty Beauty, those we can get. But if it's a brand like this that I don't believe is part of the Kendo family, we don't get it, because then it's not owned by Sephora. It's just Sephora has a license to sell the products. So I'm not sure if this brand is going to be available anytime soon. It could be that it comes to a place like Cult Beauty. So I hope the brand will be available at some time, but it's probably going to be really difficult to get my hands on it. Lisa Eldridge has announced a new, like an extension of her gloss range. The Gloss Embrace now has more shades, and she makes everything like look really, really amazing. I almost caved, but I also know that the Gloss Embrace formula isn't my personal favorite gloss formula. So that's why I was like, I don't think I necessarily need these, but there are a couple of really, really stunning shades. She now does a gloss version of her Sorcery lipstick, which is like a cooler tone mauve, which I still want the lipstick, but it's been out of stocks ever since it launched. It like sold out in 10 minutes. And it always takes that brand at least a year to bring something back. So we're just gonna hang out here and see. But yeah, I'm definitely waiting on Lisa Eldridge to be restocking some products. I hope she brings her blushes back sometime soon. But there were some issues with the packaging of the original launch, so I know they're improving on that. It's been on Instagram, they keep saying that it's like slated for a release sometime this year, but we'll see. But yeah, if I do place myself a Lisa Eldridge order in the future, I may just pop a gloss in there just to give the formula another chance. Then there's a new balm out, like a new color in the Miracle Balm from Jones Road. Jones Road is another one of those brands that like went viral for a hot minute when they first launched last year. Or was it 2 years ago? I don't remember. But it's the new brand that Bobbi Brown started. And that's another brand that's just not available here. They do not ship to the Netherlands. It has very limited availability from what I can tell. So I would like to try some of their products, but it's definitely one where it's very difficult. But this looks really pretty. And these like balm-like texture things, like Danessa Myricks has something like that. I believe Makeup by Mario has some. Jones Road has a couple of those products. Like, it very much intrigues me because it's sort of like, it's not quite a cream, it's not quite a powder, but I think it can be like a really pretty product. So I'd like to try some of those things, but a lot of the brands that do them are harder for me to buy from. So it's definitely a product I'm interested in, but I'm not sure when I will be able to try this, which is why it's on the maybe list. Then Odin's Eye has a new collab with 3 influencers. This is the Perfect World collection, and it's a collab with Betty Bean, RMS Beauty, and Makeup Just for Fun. What's her name again? Oh, Amanda. I watch all 3 creators, and I'm super happy for them that they get to create these palettes with this brand. And then I looked at the color stories, and I was just a bit like, I think I have these things already in my makeup collection, so I don't personally need these. I tried the limited edition Christmas palettes that they released in the fall time, and I wasn't overly wowed with it from a color, like a quality perspective, and the color stories were interesting, but I felt I didn't get all of the shades I wanted, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna skip this round on Odin's Eye. I definitely still like the brand. I'm definitely keeping an eye on the brand still, but I just think that this is more something that other people may be more interested in than I am. Good palettes, I think so, yes, for sure. There are some interesting colors in there, but the way the color stories came together didn't make me want to buy them. And that's actually been the case for a lot of their influencer collabs. The one where they also had 3 palettes with like the wolf, the dragon, and the hummingbird palettes with, was it Judy, Tina, and Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. Like those I also didn't want to get because it was like, these are not color stories that really speak to my soul, and I feel the same way with these ones, so that's why I didn't pick them up. Then Huda Beauty has 2 new matte palettes out, and one of them is a cool tone one, and that cool tone one for a snap second, I was like, oh, yes, I'd like you, and then I was like, but I don't need an all matte quad. I mean, I'm just not an all matte person. If I'm gonna go all one texture, it's gonna be all shimmer rather than all matte. That's just the way it is for me. I prefer shimmers over mattes, and these kind of palettes, like I love my Huda Beauty little 9 pans, but I need to also start playing with some of those again because I haven't used some of those in a while, and I definitely should because I like them, and that's why I have them. But I need to start using them more. And as I'm filming this, I just finished decluttering my entire makeup collection. And now that we've cleared things out, I hope I'll be able to see them again and I can play with them more. That's the aim. But yeah, these matte ones I really, really didn't need in my life. So that's why we're passing up on the Huda Beauty matte palettes. And then the final category are my top 5 releases of the month, and the first one is one that is on my wish list. As I'm filming this, it's gonna be live tonight. It's the Fantasy Cosmetica Rogue palette, and this is one I'm gonna buy. I have one of the Fantasy Cosmetica palettes already. I have the Druid. The other releases they've done, the Sorcery and the Bard, didn't really appeal to me. And then they announced this, and I was like, this is the grungy purple, green, blue color story of my dreams. So I was like, this I need to check out. So this is definitely one that I'm going to be buying. By the time you're watching this, I should have already managed to purchase it. I hope, fingers crossed, if I don't forget what time it goes live tonight, because that's usually a thing. When I'm like having dinner and I'm like watching something on TV and I'm like, oh yeah, the palette. It happened to me with the Adept Minka palette. I had my entire laptop set up, ready to go, and then I had to buy it in the pre-order because I forgot to buy it straight. Oh well, sometimes I just forget. But yeah, the Fantasy Cosmetica Rogue palette I think is going to be a great one. The shimmers look really interesting. So I can't wait to try that one. And then this is like hot off the press. I only just found it as I was getting ready to film this video. And I found out that Zoeva has new products. Zoeva, one of my favorite brands that nobody talks about. It seems to be 8 quads of eyeshadows. And then they also have new highlighters, it seems. Some cream shadow sticks. They have blushes, lipsticks, lip crayons, like some sort of lip plumper thing. And they have new eyeliners. And I'm like, Zoeva? Are you back? And then when you look at these eyeshadow palettes, I'm like, there's a couple here that I think I'm gonna love. So I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on Zoeva again. This is apparently now on their website. The official Zoeva website ships internationally. So if you were to be interested in some Zoeva products, then you can. But Zoeva is a brand that did away with the entire line they used to do in recent years for a more, exchange it all for a more sustainable business model, which I want to support as well. And I've tried 2 of the newer eyeshadow palettes they've come out with so far, and quality-wise, both were amazing. I've kept one because it was more my vibe color story-wise, but some of these quads look really good, so yeah, I may have to give Zoeva a browse again. And I know that their eye pencils and eye crayons, those things that I've tried from them in the past, have been really good. So if they have maintained a really good formula, then I'm very excited for this one. So this is definitely one where I was like, yes, I need to tell you guys about this. Zoeva, I still hold them very near and dear to my heart. I still have most of the palettes I've ever owned, and they're some of my OGs, and I don't see myself getting rid of those anytime soon. Then Cosmic Brushes has a new palette out as well, and this one, I've put it in my top 5, but it's not something I feel I need to buy straight away. And the reason why I'm not buying this one straight away, it's their Muse palette, is because it looks like a darker version of the Serenity. And I already own the Serenity, and I just feel that there's too much of an overlap between them. I think I saw a creator like holding them up side by side, and you could see that there were some shades that were quite close, especially in the greens between the 2 palettes. And I was like, do I necessarily then need that in my life? No, I don't. I have the brand. I've tried the formula. I like the formula, but that doesn't mean I need to get everything that a brand releases. So the Cosmic Brushes Muse palette, I think, looks really great. I think if the Serenity was too bright for you, if it was too much in your face, you want something that's a little bit more muted down, then I think the Muse can give you the same vibe as the Serenity with like the purples and the greens and like the lovely shades, but more saturated, like more of a grungy vibe. And I think especially if you have deep skin, the Muse palette is going to be perfection, which is why I think it's a good one, because we need more releases as well that tailor to so many different people. And I think that no matter where you're at in the skin tone spectrum, you can make this work. But I can just, like, from the way this looks in the pictures, I'm like, if you're like a really deep olive or like really deep dark skin, this is going to look amazing on people. And it's just not necessarily for me, but I do think it's a really good release from the brand, which is why it deserves a spot in the top 5. Foundation-wise, there is a new release from Laura Mercier, and for some reason I was really intrigued with this. Seems to have a decent shade range. It's the Real Flawless Weightless Perfection Foundation, and it just seems like a very sort of skin-like, weightless thing. And it here says again, it blurs the line between makeup and skin. Medium buildable coverage, natural finish, waterproof, fade proof, whatever. I've not tried much from Laura Mercier. I have not. They're one of those brands like that I always heard people talking about, but at the time it was a bit too expensive for me. And like these more like, I think of them as a classy lady brand, and that's just not me. So I don't feel that they go by like what I like. And we have a Laura Mercier counter here in my town. And whenever I'm at the store and I sort of browse the products, there has never been a store clerk who goes like, hey, would you like to try anything? Or like, I would need a little bit of help, but they're not like very forthcoming. And it also seems like there's not always someone on counter. So then you need to try and grab someone from another counter to try and help me. It's a bit of a mess. Laura Mercier is one of those brands where I'm like, I know they can do good products, and some of them have been raved about in the past, but I've personally never found anything in the brand that I would like to try. And at nearly 50 euros for this foundation, and me having like plenty of foundation in my, like to see me through for a lifetime, I don't need this, but I think it's a good release. The foundation looks really pretty. And finally, Armani is doing some new blushes. I believe these are called the Silk Glow blushes. And I'm not sure if these are supposed to be like powder or... I think they're powder blushes. And there seem to be a couple of shades that are a little bit more intriguing. Nothing too much out there, but there are a couple of pretty mauve tones, some brighter shades, some peachy things, some oranges. I personally really enjoy the one blush I have from Armani. It's one of their cream blushes from the Neo Nude line. It's a bit of a powdery texture, so I would like to see how they actually do a powder blush. But Armani is sold here, so I might be able to give these a swatch in store if I manage to find them. But yeah, this is something maybe at some point in time I might get. Again, not something I want to buy straight away. That's usually not how my top 5 works. But yeah, I do really enjoy the look of this. So that's everything I have for you. I know this was a quick one. It's February. It's a bit slow on the makeup front, I feel. So there wasn't that much that was announced that I felt like, ooh, that was really something I had to talk about. But let me know in a comment down below what stood out to you that you've seen making the rounds that people are saying is coming out. I definitely sometimes miss some things as well because I only do these once a month and then I'm like, is this still relevant? So I don't always mention everything that's there just because else I would go crazy. So it's definitely, I used to try and do that. Like when I first started this series, I would talk about everything and it just became too much. And then I would have to do them weekly and it's just not my vibe. It's just not what I want to do with my channel. So it just doesn't go with me. I know they're very popular videos, but I don't necessarily feel I need to add to the craziness that is makeup releases. So that's where I'm coming from with that. But yeah, thank you so very much for joining me today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make several videos every single week and I hope you'd like to stay tuned for more because I am filming 4 videos over here, 1 video a week over on my second channel. I do TikToks, I do blog posts, so there's a lot of places where you can find me and all of that is linked in the description box down below. So I hope to see you somewhere. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.